Hey guys, welcome to the channel, J Powell Music, where you can get all of the critiques from the music world from your boy here, J Powell Music. So welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello. Be sure to like and subscribe here on the channel. Click that subscribe button as a plane flies over me as I just started to record. Like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for, so you know when the next few episodes are coming out. I'm going to try to have episodes come out on Tuesday and Friday. So that's kind of going to be my timetable there. Again, a brand new YouTube channel. So I'm going to keep pushing out content, and then, definitely would appreciate the support. Like and subscribe here on the channel if you are a fan of music, because this is going to be all things music, not just guitar. I do also do the 440 Guitar Podcast, Gamers for Life podcast, and I'm a part of the Music Buds as well. So check those out. I'm sure you'll be able to find them. You can find my Instagram at JPowellMusic, same thing. Now, today I'm going to be talking about this ridiculous Rolling Stones list, the 200 hip hop albums of all time. So Rolling Stone came out with this earlier this week, and it's kind of a mess, and not all of it are the album choices. The main thing to me is, one of the main things is the order that they're in. Some of the album choices too, some of them aren't even, I would consider hip hop albums. So there's a lot associated with this list that kind of, once again, brings to question, who we hold these opinions so high, who these people are. Why do we hold them high? And why don't we have, and when I say we, I'm talking about the culture of the art that they are critiquing for a top greatest albums of all time, hip hop albums of all time. Why aren't, instead of applying so much levity into this, that we really try to push their platform and try to make it where, it's a list that, we respect, that we're not leaning on a magazine as far as, according to Rolling Stone, these are the top hip hop albums, and the people that are reviewing it don't really they know a couple of albums, but clearly on this list, there's a lot missing here, and there's a lot of missing context, and there's just albums that shouldn't be on the list. But nevertheless, I'm going too much to my high horse. Let's take a look at this list together. I'm on a different camera because I wanted to use Zoom to, in fact, use the share screen so we can look over together the list here of the albums all time. So again, top 200 best hip hop albums of all time. So we start here with Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die in 1994. Okay. Obviously, when it comes to hip hop albums of all time, we're talking about all time, right? One note that I have for this whole list, not talking about this particular album, I'm going to talk about in a second, but when it comes to the list in general, some of these albums that are a part of this list should not be on this list. And one of the main reasons is they just came out this year or the year before or the year before that. To me, if you were applying an all-time list for an album, you have to give it time to breathe throughout time for it to be a part of the conversation of all time. You can't just take a really good rap album and say, this is one of the greatest of all time, top 200. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense at all. And that's part of my problem with this list. People that review this shit or just have it on here that they don't know what they're talking about. So let's talk about this. Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die in 1994. Okay. While this Notorious B.I.G. obviously one of the biggest hip hop influencers during his time, and is still cascading. We still talk about him for obvious reasons. Amazing artist, but I wouldn't have this be number one. I think Life After Death is definitely a better album than Ready to Die, in my opinion. It's kind of my thing there. This is where it gets a little weirder too. Yeah, Outkast Stank on You 2000. They're saying this is number 2. They say this is, now if they're saying that this is top 2 of top 100 of top 200 hip hop albums of all time, they're saying that this is the best that Outkast has to offer, and I could not disagree more. I think Aquemini is a phenomenal album and way better than Stank on You. You know what I mean? I think as far as to put this into the conversation, sure. Is it a number 2? No, I would say absolutely not. We got Blueprint 2001. We have Public Enemy Takes Nation Holds Back. As far as just highlighting the album in general is significant. Have Kendrick Lamar To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly, I feel like has always been a consistent topic of conversation. I feel like there's a lot of people in the culture that don't hold To Pimp a Butterfly on the same pedestal as, obviously it's Rolling Stone. And I find I hold To Pimp a Butterfly pretty high too, but a lot of people, I've realized a lot of people don't like this album that much. If you kind of have a little bit of an idea of why, please put something in the comments and help me understand, because I don't get it. You know what I mean? I personally like this better than Damn. I know Damn is a great album, phenomenal album, got a Pulitzer. Like, it is a great album. I just like Pimp a Butterfly better, in my opinion. But honestly, if we're going to be real, Good Kid, Mad City, in my opinion, is Kendrick Lamar's best album, period. Obviously, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers came out. Also a good album. Best album, to my opinion, Good Kid, Mad City. Everyone I talk about when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, if it's not talking about Damn, it's talking about Good Kid, Mad City. Good Kid, Mad City is a classic. And it deserves to be in this conversation for top hip-hop albums of all time. But to put this after Good Kid, Mad City, I would have to disagree. Now, this is where it gets a little murky. I'm not going to go through all of the albums. Kind of want to go through at least the top 10, and then I'll kind of swivel around like kind of the 200s, just so you have more of an understanding of why I'm upset about this list. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, came out 2010. This album is a classic as well. This is one of Kanye West's best albums. Now, do I hold this above College Dropout? Do I hold this above Late Registration? Do I hold this above 808s and Heartbreaks, Graduation? I would say that this is definitely, I would hold it above 808s. 808s is a different album. I arguably wouldn't say that it is it could be a hip hop album, but there's a lot of different sounds in there. It's hard to put it above Late Registration, but I probably would. I don't know about College Dropout. College Dropout is a classic. College Dropout is definitely in this conversation of one of the best hip hop albums, in my opinion. I don't know if it's better than that, though. I would say in this is damn near a perfect album when it comes to My Dark Twisted Fantasy. And it's definitely one of his best work. It's funny because Kanye West doesn't like this album. He says that the sound of how it's constructed, he kind of made it upon the sounds of what was popular. So he kind of listened to the execs, I guess, in a way. It's still a great album, whatever. But yeah, College Dropout should not be behind this list. College Dropout, in my opinion, should be on top. I would say arguably, to me, I would say College Dropout, maybe this, and then Graduation. And then Donda. That would be the first one. That would be my list, in my opinion. So what did I just say? College Dropout, this, Graduation, Late Registration, Donda. So, got Miss E, So Addictive. Great album as far as where it's set, where it's ranked, obviously up for debate. Wu-Tang Clan, the fact that this is mentioned, obviously, and then this should be a top 10 contender, so I'm not mad at that. Low End Theory, which I feel like this is, to me, this is beyond a hip hop album. The Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, 1991. I think it's way beyond. It should be just considered just a hip hop album. This is soul. Like, this is a mix of various. This is a mix of various different views there. And then for top 10, we have Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, Lauryn Hill. This is a great album. You can say it's a hip hop album. Again, a lot of different sounds. I would say it's a mix between R&B and hip hop, but I would say it's fine hip hop. Obviously, one of the best albums. Take Care. Definitely, I think should be in the conversation. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff here. And the weird stuff that I'm looking at, I'm going to go to 200 and 181 just to look at a few of those so you see where I'm kind of like, what the hell? Astro World, it's a good album. It's a really, really good album. I don't know if it deserves to be on best hip hop albums of all time. Like, just in my opinion, it's a good album. I keep going back to it. I don't get it. Like, it's good, but I think people make it better than it is. They say it's better than it is. Juice WRLD, Goodbye Riddance. Really good album. Really good from what I've heard. I haven't heard that one, but I've known people say it's really good. Freddie Gibbs, Madlib, Bandana. This is a very good album. As far as best, I don't know. And this is my problem. So 2019, right? This came out 3 years ago. I don't know if we should be having best hip hop album of all time. I don't know if that should be a conversation yet. And this is where this list gets clout chasey, gets weird, you begin to understand the incentive of why they're even making this list. And obviously this is a magazine list, so they're going to have their own incentives. This isn't just a passionate list. Like, I feel like part of the reasons I'm making this list is to have people go, what the fuck? And then for people like me to talk about it. So they're kind of doing their job on that. But when it comes to just the pure art, I think there's a lot of issues here. A$AP Rocky, Long Live A$AP. I think this is a classic album. And it could very well be in the conversation for one of the best hip hop albums. I'm not mad at that. Meet the Woo, Pop Smoke, not mad at that. That's a fantastic album. Nipsey Hussle, Crenshaw, not mad at that. Where it gets weird for me, around, I think one of the first things that I found really odd was where they ranked Common's B album B that came out, I want to say 2005. This is one that got on my nerves too. So Childish Gambino, Because the Internet. I don't know if this is a hip hop album. I would say it's not a hip hop album. And they're putting it as a hip hop album. This came out in 2013. This is a great album. And then I don't know if this should be in a conversation for best hip hop album of all time. It's definitely a popular album. It's one of his most popular albums, arguably his most popular album. But it's kind of like the Tyler Creator Igor conversation, where the Grammys gave it best hip hop album. It's not a hip hop album. You're just putting me in a box. You know what I mean? Call Me If You Get Lost. Absolutely a hip hop album. Because the Igor, no, that's an R&B album. That is not a hip hop album. Because He's Black, it's not a hip hop album. Schoolboy Q, Blank Face, really great album. I like that one. In the conversation to be best of all time, I don't know. I'd have to sit with it, I guess. And this is where it gets weird too. So we got T-Rack Whack World 2018. In my opinion, this is not a hip hop album. I've listened to this. It's not hip hop. There's a myriad of styles, but I would say the myriad of styles put together, I wouldn't consider it a hip hop album in my opinion. And then also this came out in 2018. Is it too early to put this in the conversation of best of all time? You know, I just don't know if I don't think that's fair. You know, and then where they listed, I want to say they listed Illmatic like in like 62 or something. I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? That is that is a top 25, top 20. That's a top 20 type of album. Illmatic changed a lot, and it changed a lot of how everything sounds, the continuation of how things sound. Here's another annoyance for me. Lil Nas X Montero. This is a great album. It's a fantastic album. To be the best work that he's done. I think might be the first album he's made. I don't remember, but it's a very, very good album, right? It came out last year. Why are we having a conversation on best hip hop album of all time? It just came out. It just came out. We can't have that conversation yet. This needs to breathe throughout time. That's the beauty of hip hop albums of all time. It has to breathe throughout time where you can make a decision if it's one of the best of the herd. So that's my frustration. And you kind of get more of the same here with this list. The Roots, How I Got Over. Fantastic album. a hip hop album? I would say it is. But yeah, here we go. Common B145. It's a good album. Is it one of the best of all time? No. In my opinion, no, absolutely not. Like Water for Chocolate is a phenomenal album. They have it ranked. It's just a little, I think it's in the 80s, which I think is too low in my opinion. I think Like Water for Chocolate is the top 50. Little Brother, I'm not mad at that. That's a classic album. Definitely one of the best. Yeah, a 140. I said it was in the 60s for, this is not as it was written. My bad. But not as it was written, I think it's too low. I think it should be higher than that. Yeah, there's just some weird stuff, man. Planet Her, I don't know if this is considered a hip hop album. I don't think it is. So that's why there's a very Grammy incentive narrative. It's like it's like some of these people don't understand what hip hop means. What is a hip hop album? You know what I mean? Like these group of people that wrote this, a lot of people don't understand what hip hop means. It seems like. I don't think this is a hip hop album. This is a pop album. This is a pop album. Planet Her is a pop album. Why is it in a list of hip hop? Frustrated. So anyway, and obviously those aren't new conversations, but this is a new thing that Me Against the World 134. That's disgraceful. That's a top 50, 40, 30, hell, even 20. List. So that's disgraceful. That's disrespectful. So anyway, and this is the thing, man. We have people that are making lists that don't know what they're doing, that don't understand the culture, they don't know the significance of one album to the next, how it fits. Obviously, you have new people that are getting accommodated to the culture or to this type of music. So not everyone is supposed to, supposedly. But if we want to make a list, let's take a lot of time to, in my opinion, this is just what I would do. You know, let's have people a part of the culture that have an understanding throughout time, at least a good amount of those folks. When I say throughout time, 20, 30 years, maybe. You know what I mean? And then I think it is important to have some younger cats where they can have an understanding, 20 years or 10 years. And then there could be a conversation piece. But to put certain albums that just came out last year, one of the best hip hop albums of all time, like shut the fuck up. Like, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. So that is my rant on this. But yeah, so in general, just Rolling Stones being ridiculous. If you were to get anything out of this, Rolling Stones being ridiculous. But again, J Powell Music here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next episode is coming out. Again, I appreciate everybody watching, and there's going to be a lot more videos to come. So thanks for kind of being here at the beginning of that journey. Again, J Powell Music signing out. Have a good weekend.